I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. Donald Trump is on his social media platform yet again threatening and attacking special counsel Jack Smith. This comes after Donald Trump called special counsel Jack Smith a mad dog psycho over the weekend. You can really see that Jack Smith is intimidating Donald Trump, that he's terrified of special counsel Jack Smith. And the best part about it is that special counsel Jack Smith has not said a word. And that just lets Donald Trump's imagination just completely overtake him. So he just continues to attack and attack and attack and get more scared by the day. Let's pull up the recent message that Donald Trump posted about Jack Smith. This is what he says. He goes, "The psycho, quote, prosecutor assigned to me for the documents hoax, quote, Jack Smith, question mark, is not only together with his wife, family, and friends, a massive Trump hater of historic proportions," he puts that in parentheses, "but also someone that viciously and unscrupulously pursued others, only to be overturned unanimously by the U.S. Supreme Court. Why don't they have a thug," he puts that in quotes, "like this going after Biden, who really did commit crimes, question mark. His prosecutor is a nice guy, not a Trump-hating monster. Very unfair, but people get it, exclamation point." Can we just break down every single word and sentence of this just to see how deranged, unhinged, and absolutely false it is? So he starts off by calling Jack Smith, again, using the term psycho. He puts prosecutor in quotes. Now, special counsel Jack Smith ran the integrity division within the Department of Justice. Special counsel Jack Smith was one of the top lawyers at The Hague prosecuting war criminals. He is someone who's not a quote prosecutor. He is someone who's one of the most accomplished prosecutors in the entire world. He goes on to then say the documents hoax. Okay, it's not a hoax. You stole thousands of government records, including sensitive compartmented information, and for almost 2 years, you continued to lie to first the National Archives, then the Department of Justice, that all of the records were returned. You had your lawyers sign attestations under penalty of perjury saying that all the documents were returned. Your lawyers, your MAGA lawyers, make attorney, get attorneys lawyers, or make attorney, get arrested lawyers, are now, and they have been, subpoenaed before the criminal grand jury in Washington, D.C. They are now being criminally investigated for obstruction of justice as well. But you had your lawyers lie to the Department of Justice on your behalf. So this isn't some sort of hoax. This is a theft of government records by you. Then you go on to say Jack Smith, question mark. And to be clear why he's saying, quote, Jack Smith, question mark, one of the things that Trump tries to imply, the dog whistle he makes here, and the conspiracy theory that this QAnon monster tries to perpetuate here, is that Jack Smith's name really isn't Jack Smith. And it's also tinged with a bit of anti-Semitism, that he's basically saying Jack Smith probably has a more Jewish sounding last name and it can't possibly be Smith. That's what Trump is insinuating there when he goes Jack Smith, question mark. Then Donald Trump goes on to attack not just Jack Smith, but every single person in Jack Smith's family. He goes together with his wife. So Donald Trump's attacking Jack Smith's wife, family, and friends. That's who Donald Trump is targeting here. And Donald Trump knows when he makes this statement on his social media platform to his cult that this is basically an order to his cult. It is a command by to his cult to threaten these individuals, to go after and dox Not just Jack Smith, but Jack Smith's wife, family, and friends. And we know from the January 6th committee, when Trump would do this, when he used to have his Twitter account, that his followers would then do horrific things to the individuals he would target in these missives, in these statements that he would put out here. And one of the things that Donald Trump is also trying to do, because Jack Smith has been basically, his entire investigation has been hermetically sealed, Donald Trump is trying to bait Jack Smith here into making a mistake. He's trying to get in Jack Smith's head. He's trying to scare Jack Smith's wife and family and friends to try to get rid of Jack Smith from this investigation. Those are the tactics of like a cartel leader, of a mafia. And I would say a mafia boss, although they're not even this brazen to publicly attack the prosecutors on their case. And then Donald Trump goes on to say, why don't they have a thug like this going after Biden? Again, not only calling Jack Smith a mad dog psycho and a psycho prosecutor, but now calling Jack Smith a thug and saying, why don't they have a thug like this going after Biden? And look, it is all projection with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has, in his administration, weaponized the Department of Justice and had actually brought on thugs to try to attack his political enemies. That's what went on during the Trump administration. But here, Merrick Garland brought on a United States attorney who Donald Trump appointed. That is the individual who is investigating President Biden. And what did President Biden do? The same thing that former Vice President Pence did. When it came to them having any classified records or secret records that they had, whether it was in academies that they worked at or in their home, what they both said is, look, Department of Justice, you don't need a search warrant. Search anywhere you want. There's no intent here to ever not return documents. We were obviously in positions of power. And so to the extent there's anything that got mixed up, you search, you find whatever you want. We have nothing to hide. It's the exact opposite of Donald Trump, who continued to try to hide, mislead, conceal, mutilate records, obstruct justice. Remember what Donald Trump is being criminally investigated for, right? It is violations of the Espionage Act, concealment and mutilation of records, and obstruction of justice. Actually has nothing to do with the classification status of the documents that Donald Trump took. And I've argued before, and I'll argue here again, that if Donald Trump claims he telepathically declassified records, to me it actually makes it worse. Because what he is saying is he did not go through the chain of command. He did not tell the National Security Advisor or the NSA at all about the declassification. And the people and American assets and military leaders and the type of people who we'd want to protect by keeping records classified, sources and methods, you exposed all of these people to damage and to possibly being killed by our enemies. And, you know, I guess that doesn't matter to Donald Trump. Like, recall that Jared Kushner turned over classified records to the Saudis, turned over records to the Saudi Arabian government regarding the enemy list that America was aware of people who the Saudis could deem enemies of the government. And then Saudi Arabia then proceeded to kill everyone who may be an enemy. And then they gave Jared Kushner $2 billion to manage their money, even though Kushner is not a money manager. He doesn't have experience running hedge funds or anything like that. But that is ultimately here the difference. And it's a major difference. It's a glaring difference. But again, remember, the prosecutor, Trump's prosecutor, is the one who's investigating Biden. So when he go, oh, he's a nice guy, not a Trump-hating monster. Jack Smith's not a Trump-hating monster. Jack Smith ran the Public Integrity division at the Department of Justice. He successfully prosecuted war criminals who committed genocide. And Jack Smith did that when he worked at The Hague. Now he's diligently investigating potential crimes that were committed here. He's presenting evidence to criminal grand juries, and he's going about the process the way that you should go about this process: diligently, quietly, calmly, confidently. And that makes Donald Trump absolutely terrified. That makes Donald Trump completely lose his mind and lose sleep, because these messages are coming at all hours of the day. He's even posting some at 2:30 a.m. And Jack Smith is clearly in Donald Trump's head. And I'll make this one final point. We have to reflect again on decency, on what America's all about. And as I said before, we can't gaslight ourselves, and we can't let large media networks gaslight into feeling that this is normal. Remember the days where if a vice president spelled potato wrong, or if a presidential candidate was seen windsurfing and showed that they were out of touch with the American people, or gaffes like that could derail political careers? And why? Why? Because I think we want to hold politicians and people who want positions of power over us, over our well-being, over the well-being of our family. We want to hold them to high standards. We want a high bar for leaders. And I don't care what your political party is, when you look at the behavior of Donald Trump right here, and his behavior in general, and you see that avatar on his social media platform when he has the American flag face, his face desecrating the American flag, and he uses the language like this. That's so out of touch, that's so out of line with our values. This is ridiculous. It's disgusting, frankly. And you compare these posts to the posts that President Biden makes every day. And what's President Biden posting about? Jobs, bringing manufacturing back to the United States, improving working conditions, protecting Social Security and Medicare, supporting our veterans, supporting our allies, lowering the price of prescription drugs, making life-saving healthcare and healthcare in general affordable and accessible to all Americans, protecting seniors, making sure that women can control their own body without MAGA Republicans like Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan criminalizing women's control of their own bodies, and protecting the right of the LGBTQ plus community to marry who they want to marry without people like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that they're going to tell you what should be the definition of marriage. Really? You got Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about national divorce and civil war. And it's horrific. It's horrific. But we got to remember that contrast. And we got to make sure that we preserve and protect our democracy, our great Constitution, our great country. America's a really special place. And we must have high standards for this incredible place. And when I read messages like the one I just read you of Donald Trump, it really reflects the lowest of the low depths of depravity, which is absolutely not acceptable at all and should not be acceptable to you. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We are on our way to 1 million subscribers in March, thanks to your support. Don't forget to also check out our podcast wherever you get your audio. Go to search the MeidasTouch podcast wherever you get your audio. I think you will definitely enjoy it. Search MeidasTouch podcast. And also check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We've got a lot of exclusive content there that I know you love, but most importantly, It helps grow this independent media platform. So until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, wishing you a great, great day.
The best part of waking up? MAGA tears in my cup. Check out the new MAGA tears mug available now at store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com. It's 100% union made right here in the USA. I know I'm not tired of winning yet. How about you? Get yours today.